Hey guys, it's Friday, December 23rd, and this is Newswave. Now, outside of the Nintendo Switch, there wasn't a lot of groundbreaking news that happened yesterday, but what's great is there was actually a lot of Nintendo Switch stuff that happened. And a lot of it's kind of, it's definitely rumored, obviously, but just to see these rumors coming out to the point where we actually have sources here and here telling us completely different things. So somebody is not being completely truthful or is being deceived in some way, or maybe just doesn't know fully what they're talking about when it comes to the Switch, because I understand things like resolutions can get kind of thrown around with upscaling and all kinds of stuff, but it's either source is telling us different things, whether they have access to different forms of dev kits, or maybe they're doing this for publicity. It's really hard to say. But the Nintendo Switch news came out, rumors anyway, and there's a very credible source on Twitter who basically says, yes, the Switch is going to use a higher resolution screen than we originally thought. It's going to be sitting about 1440p on the screen. Off of the dock, it's going to be going down to 1080p, where originally thought 1080p on the screen, 720p on off the dock. Now, I went into this further on my other video, so check that out if you're interested in any of that. But he also said something else. Now, he also talked heavily about USB-C and DisplayPort. And what he's basically saying is DisplayPort works well with USB-C. It's actually basically can be used as part of USB-C. And what it's doing basically is he's talking about it being a pass-through. So the reason they have to do this, because like I said, DisplayPort is used with USB-C, so you have DisplayPort coming from the system itself, going down through that USB-C connector, and then what this is confirming to us, basically, if this is true, it actually makes a little bit of sense, because USB-C and DisplayPort do play nice together, so I understand what they're saying here. Basically, it's coming down through the port, and it's going to in some way be converted, where they remove the data signals, so if they have USB ports on the outside, which the patent seems to suggest that it will, if it has USB ports on it, that will be separated from the video and audio that would then be converted to HDMI out. Of course, HDMI will be used. They're not going to use DisplayPort on the back of this dock, because HDMI is the standard at this point. Interesting to note, he mentioned a internal bus speed of 5 gigabits per second. That would be enough to support 4K going through that USB-C port to DisplayPort and then out through HDMI. I don't really know what they would use 4K for. The only thing I could think of at this point is streaming media with Netflix and Hulu, anything like that. It's certainly not going to be used, I don't think, anyway, for games, considering you need something like the Scorpio possibly to do native 4K, and that's as top of the line as it gets. But I don't see why it couldn't do streaming 4K. Honestly, the original Xbox One, even though they have not really added it, it came with the Slim, probably could have also done 4K video anyway. So that's my thoughts with that. Again, all he's telling us is that it is using a DisplayPort functionality that's going through USB-C that's then apparently going to be basically converted to HDMI. That rumor actually makes a lot of sense, so I'm a little more on board with that one as opposed to the odd screen resolutions that they're talking about. He also made mention that the game engine for the Switch, basically, the patents, for some reason he says that open world games will be easier to program on the Switch. That's a very broad and vague statement. I'm not really sure what he's talking about, neither is anyone else, so that's probably something we'll need to see more about the specs. I've said before, I think there's something we don't know about whatever chip is in there. Hopefully January we'll know. I doubt it. We'll probably know after we get it, to be honest, and someone reverse engineers it, but I don't know. I don't really know what he's talking about there. Apparently open world games are easier to program on the Switch, so there you go. I'm going to stick with the Switch news here just so I can lump it all together for you guys. If you're just interested in the Switch stuff, you can watch it the first bit of this video. But there was also another discovery made. It's kind of interesting, actually, that basically someone on NeoGAF made the discovery after going through some Unreal Engine 4 stuff with the Unreal tournament game that Epic currently has. You can download it for free to play on your PC. It's very fun. It's old school Unreal, basically. And basically what they found out was the Switch, which was codenamed by them for the Unreal Engine, was codenamed Wolf. They actually found a couple instances where it was brought up that they were able to get Unreal to compile on Wolf UT, which is Wolf Unreal Tournament is what they think it stands for, or Switch Unreal Tournament. Now, if that's the case, I wouldn't say Unreal Tournament is necessarily going to the Switch. This is probably a prototype. And what I mean by that is they want to see how their engine runs on the system. So they take a game that is pretty common for them, or one that they know really well. I'm sure they know this Unreal Tournament game very well. And what they do is they put it on there, see how it runs, see what settings they would have to play around with for the system, what its limitations are, things like that. And that gives them an idea going forward with any other games they will develop. Now, it's interesting to note that they seem very interested in the Switch because they are doing things like prototyping games to see how it runs. And it says it was able to compile and play. They did have to do things like reduce textures for it, is what they're saying here, but how much, we're not sure. Which textures, also not sure. But keep in mind, they were able to compile and run Unreal Tournament with their Unreal Engine for the Switch. So that's great. That's good news. Again, I'm still interested to see what games we do see in January. But this tells me that Unreal Engine 4 is pretty much a lock for the Switch. It seems to run okay and no problem. So we'll keep an eye out on that. And we also got an update today for the PlayStation VR. You can now watch YouTube videos in VR. I don't know. I guess that's the 360 view ones. I do not have that, but you can. I guess you could watch me as a screen on VR. But an update came out yesterday, and it allows you to use Google, the app for YouTube. They updated it, and now you can use it in VR on your PlayStation 4. So I don't know how well it works. I have never tried VR and YouTube together. I'm sure it's an interesting experience to say the least, but if anyone tries it out, let me know how it is in the comments below. And if you have an Apple Watch, you'll be happy to know that Pokemon Go is now available for it. What it'll allow you to do is do things, pretty basic things actually. You can collect items from the Pokestop. You can track your progress when you're walking. You can hatch eggs from what we can see here. You can't catch Pokemon on it. It's more for finding Pokemon nearby and then taking your phone out, which is good because then you don't have to have your phone out all the time, killing your phone's battery, of course, looking for Pokemon, hatching eggs. It's nice to just have it, your watch basically do all that for you, and then you can keep your phone obviously alive if you got to make a phone call or something. But it's interesting to keep that in mind because there was also that ban that they had. I guess it didn't go so well for them, although it did get kind of pricey there for a while to get one, and it's supposed to retail for $30, got up to almost $100 on eBay, probably just because Nintendo and shortages, you know. So, but it's cool to see that they are releasing that. I would be curious if any of the Android ones do get it, like the Samsung, the Gear, I think it was called Samsung Gear. So I'll keep an eye out for that too. But anything like this that makes Pokemon Go easier to play, I'm all for, because walking around with your phone the first week of Pokemon Go up in town here, everyone's just walking around like this. I think it would look a little better, obviously, if it's just your wristwatch. And if you're a fan of the Forza series, you'll be happy to know that Forza Motorsport 7 has pretty much been announced at this point. I think it was pretty obvious it was coming. Forza has been very popular on the Xbox. It is their racing game for Microsoft at this point, obviously going up against Gran Turismo. They need a dedicated racing game. Forza's always done well for the community if you're like a big car enthusiast. It's generally worked pretty well with the wheels, the steering wheels and pedals too. So what happened was Fanatec CEO Thomas Jackermeyer actually came out and said, hey, I'm going to have a meeting with Turn 10 to discuss the new Forza series, and I would like your guys kind of feedback and just let me know about things that could get better, especially with the wheels that you use and pedals and everything. And of course the community basically came out and said, yes, we want this, this, and this. This was a problem with steering here, and the pedals weren't responsive here and there, and apparently he reported most of it, or all of it, I guess, and good things. Apparently he said, hey, we had a good meeting, and we're going to work on specifically wheel support and pedal support with the new Forza 7. And that's good, because this game should be completely compatible and should be like perfect with wheels at this point. I mean, this is going to be the 7th iteration of their regular Forza Motorsport series. That's not including Horizon, obviously. So I'm sure it's going to be another good car racing game, and if they can really nail the implementation of the steering wheel and pedals, even shifters at that point, I mean, they have a winner on their hands there, especially over Gran Turismo, because they are trying to make this, obviously the Forza series is trying to be as simulation as possible. They're fortunate to have their Horizon series where they can kind of go off the wall and arcadey and everything, and then really just come down to earth and just build a really good simulation game with just the Forza Motorsport series. So keep an eye out on that. I'm sure they'll really, really show off a lot of their wheel and pedal features at E3, I would assume, unless it shouldn't be out before then, I don't think. It'll probably be out next fall is my assumption. That seems to be the release schedule for Forza. It's usually out in October or so. So keep an eye on E3, see if we can come up with some new things about the wheels and pedals. Should be kind of cool. Now, I know we've all been a little worried about Kingdom Hearts 3, me especially, because we don't really hear much about it. We don't see much about it. And that can get us a little concerned about when we ever will see it. But Fortunately, in the latest issue of Dengeki PlayStation, they've actually come out and said that it is on track. Now, the director of Kingdom Hearts, Tetsuya Nomura, has actually talked about in this case that despite all of the remasters and remixes that are coming out for the PlayStation 4 and have come out for the PlayStation 3, its production is right on track. Everything is on schedule. Should not be worrying about it. Despite some of their resources being taken up to remaster these games, they're apparently not making a huge dent on the production time for Kingdom Hearts 3, which has me very relieved because, of course, I love 2. I bought it when it came out. This was back in 2005 at this point. It actually came out the same year that the 360 came out. So to me, Kingdom Hearts 2 and the launch of the 360 are very much tied together. And it's been that long at this point. If you really consider it, it's been 11 years now. 11 years since the last true numbered Kingdom Hearts came out. I know there have been a lot of spin-offs and there's been a lot of remasters that have come out since then, but that true, 1, 2, and now 3, there's been probably 12, maybe even 13-year gap because we don't have much else on it. I mean, this thing could come out in 2017, but it also could wait until 2018 at this point. And it's so hard to tell. I'm hoping, again, I know we're looking kind of forward at this point to E3, but I'm hoping E3 we see something big about it. They come out and say holiday season, 2017, you're getting Kingdom Hearts 3. I think obviously at that point the crowd would erupt, everyone at home would be excited, and probably I'd imagine sales that holiday season will be tremendous. So good to hear it's on track though. I'm looking forward to it. It will be a day one purchase for me, absolutely. I'll just have to figure out what system to get it on. And guys, that's going to do it for Newswave today. I hope you have a good weekend, a good Christmas. It is Christmas weekend after all. And tomorrow, Saturday, we're going to have my little adventure to get my Nintendo Switch dev kit back. That will air at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So definitely check that out. It's like a 5-6 minute kind of comedy skit. I think it'll be some fun, we'll have some fun. It doesn't have to be serious on the weekend, so check that out. And then I'm coming up with something for Christmas Day that we can have a little fun with too, so keep an eye out for that. There should be videos on both days, hopefully. And other than that, guys, I hope you have, like I said, a good Christmas, and I will see you on Monday for more Newswave.